Jaimunji here, and I told you we'd be back with more tier list, and it didn't take long to get back on this train, but we are back with the Machine Head, ranking them all tier list. Now, I'm pretty pumped to do this one. I was hoping to get it out a bit earlier, but it's been a busy week. But the album is out worldwide today. I don't know if it's out in every territory yet, but it's definitely out in Australia. Now, I have had the benefit of having UNATONED for about 6-7 days now, so I have listened to it several times. So I've got some opinions on it, which I will save towards the end. A little bit of a mini review, if you will, by the time we get to it. So we're going all the way back to Burn My Eyes, all the way up to Atoned. Let's get to it. Alright, you beautiful people, we're going to jump straight into this one today. Now, I've been a fan of Machine Head for quite some time now. I want to say since 2007 sounds about right. I actually met Robb and the band back in the day on the Blackening tour. I'll post up a beardless baby photo of good old Jaimunji here. Don't know why I did that. Anyway, I'm keen to get to this. We won't take a lot of time because I know you guys know the albums. I know you guys love the album. So, you know, I'm just giving you my opinion on them. And I want you guys to argue with me about this opinion. It's up to you. Music is subjective. Opinions are subjective. If I say something's S tier and you truly think it's D tier, you believe that. I don't. But that's cool, man. At the end of the day, we all have different opinions. And this is going off someone. I'm in my mid-30s, and I got into the band in the mid-2000s. So that's going to affect something. I'm not an old head that got into them in the 90s. So my opinion might be different to yours. But in saying that, we're up to Burn My Eyes. Now, I'm not in the mindset of old is always better. But, and you know, the pun, old is on this song. This album really did start it all. And I think this album actually still holds up. Fantastic album to kick them off. I think a lot of metal bands suffered in the 90s. It was hard after grunge came in and hair metal died. And, you know, Pantera feel like they were the only real band to do well. But then people forget. Fear Factory, Machine Head, those bands were killing it during the 90s and then killed it through the 2000s. So I think a lot more credit needs to go to these guys for being able to hold the metal flag while not kind of, you know, falling into, you know, getting rid of everything. Machine Head was still rocking guitar solos. There's nothing Fear Factory ever did, but Fear Factory were a different beast. We're not talking about Fear Factory. Maybe they'll be the next tier list. Actually, that's the first tier list on this channel. I'm rambling. Let's get into it. Burn My Eyes. Now, I will change this around as I go along because I'm comparing Machine Head to Machine Head. I'm not comparing them to anyone else. So if I put this at B now or A now, I could move it up to C. I could move it up to D. I could move it all the way up to S tier. Who knows? But I think Burn My Eyes is a staple. Machine Head can't live without this album in their catalogue. So I'm going to chuck that straight up into A today. I think it deserves A just for everything it did to the band. And, you know, you put on those tracks, Davidian, Old, Thousand Lives. There's so many good songs on this album. It holds up. It still sounds well today. So, yeah, I've got to put it at A. Now we'll move along. The more things change. Now, this is a bit more different to me. This is not an album I've listened to a lot. I don't know why it hasn't stuck with me as much as some of the other albums, but it does have some great tracks on it. You've got 10 Ton Hammer, Take My Scars. Like, there's a lot of good tracks on it, but when I sat down this morning, I had a look. I was like, wow, I really need to re-listen to this album because I don't recognize a lot of those songs. And I know I've spun this album quite a few times. I had it on CD somewhere back in the day. So I've definitely listened to it a few times, but it hasn't really stuck with me. So just for now, until we get through the list a bit, I want to put it down in C. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not as memorable as some of their other albums. And I think that's a big part of this. As bands go on in time, everyone remembers Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All. But sometimes you start to forget some tracks because bands have put out such good things later. And I think Machine Head were one of those bands, they aged like fine wine. They got better over time. That's my opinion. I'm not going to say every brand new release is perfect, but that's my opinion on this one. So we'll move down the list a bit more. What are we up to now? The Burning Red. People are going to hate me for this one. I actually think this is a fucking awesome album. It was the new metal era, but like I said, I'm in my mid-30s. I grew up with Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, you know, when Slipknot, System of a Down came in, and Machine Head kind of fit into that mold. Yep, they did jump on that kind of train a little bit, you know, changing their sound to kind of fit an era, but you had to. These guys had to come up through the 90s where grunge killed metal. So, you know, I can't blame them. We've got mortgages to pay off, people. We've got car payments. So I don't think this was a sellout album. They just did change the style to match, mainly Robb's hair. That blonde spike tips he has in the From This Day music video is definitely a choice. And if Robb or anyone from Machine Head watching this, what was going through your mind at the time, dude? That was an interesting choice. But I do think this was a really good album. And From This Day, and Strike Me Down If You Must, is a top 10 Machine Head song for me. I put that on all the time. If I make a Machine Head playlist, I'm a shocker for making playlists. I just make playlists for the sake of making playlists. If I want any Machine Head songs and I put like 5 in, From This Day always comes in on it. I'm not going to go over the top on it because, like I said, the singles are really good and there's some really good songs on this one. So I'm going to put it at B. I'm not going to scare you guys off and be like, oh no, he's going to put it in S tier. I'm going to put it in B. I might move it up to A, to be honest with you, as we go through this thing. But I just saw that album was absolute fire. Now we'll move on to an album I didn't think was as good, but it had some good songs. I like Crashing Around You and Bulldozer, but that kind of stops about there. Yeah, I can't really say I listened to this album much. Supercharger I'm talking about, of course. Can't say I listened to this album much outside those tracks. And which is fine. It's the same with Fear Factory. We'll go back. I can't even remember the album they did after Archetype, that, you know, the second album without Dino. I only listened to like 2 songs off that as well. So I just feel this one didn't stand the test of time. Didn't hold up as much as The Burning Red. So I'm going to chuck it as the first D tier. I know there's an F tier on this list, but I don't think Machine Head have truly released anything that deserves an F tier. I don't think any band's released anything. Oh, Metallica's Lulu maybe is an F tier, but yeah, we're just gonna go between S and D. And no need to be super mean and give an F out. I'm not about giving Fs out. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on from that one. I think we're done with that one. So this is the album I first listened to Machine Head for. I didn't get into it in 2003, I think, when it came out. And I'm talking about To the Ashes of Empires. This was the album I bought at a local record store in a country town called Bathurst, New South Wales. It was secondhand. It was all scratched up. The cover, the CD was absolutely fine. That was my first time listening to Machine Head. I managed to pick it up for $3 there. I put it in. This was the first time, like I said. Never heard anything quite like it. I didn't realise From This Day was a Machine Head song by this time. I had heard that song back growing up in that nu metal area, but it wasn't until I came back years later. I was like, oh shit, that was Machine Head. So this, I truly feel, was my first introduction to Machine Head because I was actually paying attention to what it was. And Imperium, I think this is a brilliant song. I think it's by far the best song of the album. This is one of those albums, unfortunately, I can't go through and name a bunch of the tracks because I had it on CD. Like I said, the case was all scratched up. You could barely read anything on it. So I just knew the songs. And back in the day, I had this, so I didn't have to burn it off LimeWire. So I used to burn CDs with the tracks on, and I'd be like, I really like track 1. I really like track 4. So I can't really go through and tell you now, like, Days Turn to Grey was a good one as well, but Imperium was the one that always stood out to me. It's the one they always play live still. I think it's a fantastic album. I want to almost chuck it up in A, but I know we've got a lot more to go through. We're only at the halfway point with this album now. So I kind of want to chuck it in... no, screw it. I'm going to chuck it in A. I think it's a great album. I think it really set the tone for things that were to come on what we're about to hit next. Everyone knows what I'm getting up to now. Now, if you're a Machine Head fan, this is the album you loved, or this is the album you just didn't care for, which is surprising to me, because I think it is by far their best piece of work. This is their Master of Puppets. This is their Wall. This is, well, I'm not going to use Iron Maiden because Iron Maiden is so subjective to which is the best. You could argue Number of the Beast caught somewhere in Time Power Slave. But I feel this is their grand work of art in the scheme of things. Now, some people didn't like it because it went very proggy. Songs were long. It was very different. It did not sound like Burn My Eyes. Fair enough. Not for you guys. I like a bit of everything. So the Blackening to me was just majestic. I've got the album around here somewhere signed by the lineup that when they came out for the Blackening 2, it's the same. That's where I met them at Utopia Records in Sydney. If you recognise the old store there from the photo I put up earlier. I think this is just one of the best albums of all time. I put this in my top 10 favourite albums of all time. So obviously, The Blackening is a fucking S tier, my friends. You can argue with me, you can not argue with me, you can agree with me. I feel more people are going to agree with me on this one more than anything. But I've got the deluxe edition of this, which has Hallowed Be Thy Name and I think Battery on it as well. It was just, oh mate, just everything they did for this cycle. Like, I don't know what Robb was drinking at that time, but man, give me some of what you had. Like, it's just, you captured lightning in a bottle for the Blackening. Halo, I think, is one of the best metal songs of all time. It's top 3 guitar solos for all time for me, and I didn't realize until years later that whole guitar solo was all Robb. Phil was in the band, but he didn't record the solo on that track, which like blew my mind. I only found that out about 5-6 years ago. I was like, what? So yeah, I'm losing my breath talking about this because I truly believe that's number 1. We've got some great albums coming up. The Blackening is number 1. And I hope you guys could accept that. And if you don't, you turn the video off now. Well, I'm sorry to lose you, but here we go, because it's Unto the Locust. Machine Head had the biggest fucking task in the world of following up the Blackening. And you know what? They did it. I feel Unto the Locust was lightning in the bottle twice. How'd they do it? How did they do it? It's like when a sporting team goes back to back and win championships. Machine Head did this on Unto the Locust. I Am Hell's actually my favourite on this one. I got to see them play that live at Soundwave years and years and years ago. To show you a fan, I left System of a Down. As soon as I knew Machine Head was starting, saw 3 System of a Down songs, ticked that off my list, ran over, saw Machine Head, and they opened with I Am Hell. There was something... This album was fast as well. There was a lot of speed to this album as well. Robb's vocals sound fantastic. What else we got on? Locust, of course. This Is the End. I really like the chorus in that song as well. Brilliant, brilliant album. I can't say enough good things. In fact, there's another song. I'm just forgetting the title of it now. Let me pull up the old Spotify and just do a little scrolling. I think it's... Was it Darkness Within? Yeah, I love Darkness Within. Who We Are, Pearls Before the Swine, Be Still and Not... Fucking... What an album. So, Unto the Locust, you can join the Blackening, my friends. I just truly feel... I mean that. Like, I don't think it's better than the Blackening. But, you know, if it's... This is like... It's hard to put it that way because I was going to do it the opposite way around. I was going to say if it's the Terminator movies, Unto the Locust is Terminator 1 and the Blackening is Terminator 2. But I don't feel that fits. I think it's more of a... I don't know. It's just perfect. I think these 2 albums are perfect. Easily an S tier. They're not shifting. They're staying up there. Okay, what are we moving up to next? Bloodstone and Diamond. Now, I don't know what everyone thinks about this. I don't look into a lot of other people's opinions about music because it upsets me. Unfortunately, metal people are really fucking bad gatekeepers. As a person who likes Ghost and Sleep Token, but I've got Cannibal Corpse and all that, my range is so broad that I just hear all the hate everyone has in the world. And I know this video is going to have hate in the comments. They probably already turned it off by now, left their nasty little comment in the video below. But Bloodstone and Diamond was awesome. I thought that was a great album. Now We Die, Killers and Kings, Ghost Will Haunt My Bones. Was this the album that had... I get them mixed up sometimes. Whoops, I minimized the screen. My bad. Was this the one that had Night of the Long Nights on it? Yeah. Night of the Long Nights, Sail to the Black. Ink Up the Flood was a good song. Damage Inside, Game Over. That's a good song. There were some great tracks on this album. I think it was really great, but god damn, man, it was hard to follow up, you know. And now that I think about it, let's go back. We're going to use this movie as an antidote. I think S tier for Machine Head was The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. The Mummy was better, but The Mummy Returns is almost just as good. Let's just forget the CGI rock Scorpion King. But Bloodstone and Diamonds, yeah, brilliant album. I reckon it's actually easily an A tier. I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me on that one. I think it's fantastic. I'll take that to the bank, man. I will take that to the bank. Strike me down, otherwise. Now we're getting up to Catharsis. There are some good songs on this album. It didn't stick with me, though. I like the title track. Beyond the Pale, from memory, was all right as well. But it's not something I revisit too often. It comes on when I put on, This Is Machine Head, and you put on Shuffle on Spotify. Don't get me wrong, I still collect album in vinyls, but, when you're in the car, Spotify's a lot easier. This one doesn't stand out. I didn't think it was bad, but you've just had 3 fantastic albums in a row. You had to slow down. It's like NBA teams, for example. You always hear about the 3-peat. There's not many 4-peats. In fact, I don't think in the modern era of basketball there's been 4-peat champions. You just run out of gas after a while, and you need to come back a bit stronger, just like, all the teams have done in the past. And I feel this one, they were running a bit. I think this was the last album with Phil and David on it. I can't remember. But if it was, I think it kind of shows at the same time. Maybe the passion wasn't there. I don't think it's a Supercharger, but I definitely think it's a C. I'm happy to put it there. Like I said, don't think it's a horrible album. It just wasn't memorable. And I think albums need to be memorable at the end of the day to stick out. So I'm going to go to the Spotify again because I'm starting to blend albums together. Now, we've got Of Kingdom Crown. I don't know what everyone's opinion on this. I was talking to my friend Sean the other day. He said he wasn't a big fan of this album, which took me by surprise because I kind of thought this was, Machine Head energized back up. You saw the martyr, choke on the ashes, you hate to come the firestorm. My Hands Are Empty was a good song. There are a lot on this. Arrows in Words of the Sky. I think maybe what took the bit of the run out of it a little bit was, it was an EP that came out first and then the album came out later and a lot of the singles were released a bit earlier. Maybe that kind of slowed the momentum down. But No Gods, No Masters has become one of my favorite Machine Head songs of all time. I truly think it is a brilliant album. Robb's voice sounds very strong on this. I think, who's the new bass player? Is it Jared? I can't remember his name for the life of me. Brilliant hair on the guy. Brilliant mustache as well. But I think this is one where I think it's a great... Unhallowed was a good song as well. I don't want to keep chucking everything in A. But I kind of feel like this is A as well. And just maybe because I forgot the tracks on Through the Ashes of the Empire, maybe I'm getting a bit too... getting too old, getting too forgetful. You guys might hate me for this. I'm going to move that down. B plus though. And I'm going to put this one also as a B plus. I'm going to put it just shy of A. I'm going to consider Burn My Eyes an A. This is almost an A minus. I don't know if you can see my mouse hovering over the album cover or not, so maybe I'll just stop doing that. But I think Machine Head's... I think Of Kingdom Crown. It's definitely B plus A minus. I don't know. I might have to leave it there. I can't chuck them all up in A because we're getting to the new album now. Now, a lot of people, and if you're listening to this, the album has only just come out today. Calm your farm a little bit on my opinions on this because not everything is going to be the Blackening when it first comes out. I've had this album, like I said, for about a week now. The review is out online. Machine Head have even shared it. Cheers to the boys. You might recognize my face. Machine Head actually cut together one of my reactions for Bone Scraper and posted it all over their social. So thank you, boys. I love the love. The love is returned to you. I truly like this album. Now, this album might not be for everyone because I feel like this is the evolution of Kingdom and Crown. But there's some stuff in this album that I never expected Machine Head to do. Like Bleeding Me Dry, it opens with almost like... atmospheric sounds with drum loops in it for the verses, but it's also got more death growls than I think I've ever heard in the Machine Head song as well. I think it's truly, truly fantastic. You got Scorn, which is just, what an album. Close to the piano, everything building up, and it's just, Robb's voice. I think Robb's voice is fantastic for his age. I can't believe the dude's in his late 50s and he still sounds like this. He doesn't sound tired. I know some people sound tired over years, and it's easy in the studio to kind of polish that up a little. But I saw him live. Robb still fucking kills it, man. I think this is a great album. Unbound, the first single, well, technically the second single, I guess, I personally think is one of the weaker tracks on the album. So if you're judging this album off your first listen to Unbound, fuck off and get back into it, because I reckon this album's great. Not Long for This World, one more of those ballady type songs. Well, in what Machine Head could call a ballad at the end of the day. Bone Scraper, the groove in that song, honestly, is one of my favorite Machine Head songs. I just can't help it. I just fucking love it. But stuff like Bleeding Me Dry and Scorn, if you don't like that, then I guess you kind of lost hope on this album, because I think they're two songs Machine Head have done that feel like Machine Head and feel like stuff they've done from the past, but it's definitely the evolution. They've tried new things, and they've tried new things that I think have worked well. So, crucify me all you want on this. I truly think this is just a little bit of a step up from of Kingdom Crown. The only thing that I could fault it for is I would like a little bit more guitar solos, but on this one I think they were purposely condensing it to be a bit more punch in your face, like an older Machine Head, because I think the longest song from memory was Bleeding Me Dry, at 5.5 minutes. Everything else is basically under 4 minutes or just on 4 minutes, so a bit different to Machine Head. If you go to Of Kingdom and Crown, most of the songs are tracking over 4 minutes. We got a 10-minute song. So, yeah, they kind of trimmed everything down a little bit on this one. And I think it worked well. I was a little afraid when Robb first kind of said that in an interview. I was like, ooh, I don't know, man. Don't. But I think he did great. So, where I think of Kingdom Crown was a B plus. I truly think Atone is an A minus. Strike me down for that. Like I said, I have had this album for about a week now, so it's not my first listen. It's not the it's brand new and shiny on my first two playthroughs, so I'm hyped just because we get new Machine Head. No, I think this album will stand up, and if people aren't enjoying it right now, go back and listen through it, mate. Just go back and listen through it. I think it will grow on you, and if it doesn't, that's cool. I'm just one of those guys that, like I said, I don't think old is always better. I like it when bands try new things, and I like it when it works, and I personally feel it works for this album. Now, I got a little bit wordy and preachy on this tier list. Looking at it now, I don't think I'm really going to shuffle anything around. I kind of like what I've done here. I'm happy with it. And this is coming from someone in their mid-30s who got into Machine Head in the mid-2000s. So this is my opinion on what I've grown up with. Wow, been listening to them for 20 years now. Oh, okay. I didn't put that together at the start of this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you hated my opinion, all good, man. Just don't call me a fuckwit or something like that, because this is just truly, as a fan, what I enjoy listening to when I put on Machine Head. But I'm keen to what everyone else likes, and especially some of you older heads who like the early albums. What have you thought about the new albums from the Blackening onwards? I'm genuinely curious, because I'm a big fan of the 2000s Iron Maiden. I think For a Matter of Life or Death is one of their best albums. I think the old albums are the shit, and that's the stuff you want to hear. But I think Maiden are one of those bands I'm like, nah. I think when they changed and did some of their proggy stuff, I thought some of it went fantastic. So that's just my opinion if you want to get in my head a little bit. But thank you for joining me today. If you stuck around to the end, suggest some other tier lists you'd like me to do. The first ever one I did was Fear Factory, so you're going to see a much shorter beard Jaimunji in a different room if you go back and watch that one. In fact, I might link it here. You can watch that now. Anyway, thank you once again. Let me know what you want to see in the future. But until next time, I've been Jaimunji, and you all have a good one.